Hey everyone, Vlad here with Trader Foundation. Today I have one of our clients, Zeke Mills here, and we're going to discuss how Zeke went from making very little bit amount of money to almost nothing in stocks to making ridiculous percentages in profit and in a very small period of time. But you know what? I don't want to get too ahead of myself, so I'm going to introduce my man Zeke here. Zeke, let's kick it off with this. Could you please briefly kind of introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so my name is Zeke. Like Vlad said, I'm 25 years old. I have a son, 2 years old. He's about to be three, and like you said, I had some limited success in the market before, and I was looking for something to really give me, more knowledge. I always feel like I call fractional information, which I kind of had found before, and I had some minor success. But I was looking for somebody who's really going to help out, and when you told me about what you're doing, I was really excited to give it a shot.
What triggered you about what I told you to really get into this?
Well, it's having a strategy. It's having a strategy, I think, is the most important thing. I know last year I had some pretty decent success. When the market crashed, I bought in around March. Between the 18th and the 24th, I put some money in, and statistically, if you look back, that was the bottom of the market. So
Yeah.
I made money just because I literally bought in at the bottom. But then after taking some of those gains and trying to, get some more money, I lost a pretty significant amount of it just trying to just trade stuff. I was thinking, oh, GE, that's a good company. Oh, Apple, that's a good company, and no real strategy. And so when you taught me about how there's like a whole psychology behind it and how there's whole looking at things differently, that just intrigued me, and I was like, okay, let's see what this is about.
Gotcha, gotcha. And I know you had a little bit of a hesitancy, I know, to join in the beginning. Was there
Yeah.
anything that's specific that triggered you? I know you had a few things going on personally that made you say, you know what, this is the time for me to make this change.
Yeah, well, I mean, at the time we were talking, I've been going through a lot. I was going through a divorce and stuff, and there was that's a tough process. I don't know if well, obviously you haven't been through that, at least I don't think so, but it's a tough process. There was a lot going on at that time. It's pretty expensive. They always talk about how expensive it is. You don't really know how expensive something like that is until you actually go through it. But it was just a lot that was going on, and so I was a little hesitant. But then I realized, well, somehow I gotta pay for this, and I have a good job at T-Mobile and stuff, but it wasn't covering necessarily all of it. So after we had talked, after I'd seen some of your success, some of your clients' success, I was like, hey, maybe this is a way to really generate some extra income that won't take away time from either my son or my job. And that was really what was like, okay, this could definitely work. So yeah.
Awesome. And what kind of results have you seen so far? What
um
you're, I know you're still in the program and you're still finishing up, but
yeah,
what
yeah.
have you seen so far?
Well, so the one trade, and I think other people in the group have seen this, was the one during one of our classes we went over Netflix, and it went up like I think when I sold it, it was probably about $13,000, and that happened. It was crazy. It was Tuesday night. I still remember. Well, we did our course, like the class we did like a Tuesday morning, and
Yeah.
we talked about it later that night. Literally the next morning, I wake up and I'm looking at my phone and I couldn't even believe it. I was like, "This is not possible." It started around like 8 when I looked at it, and I'm checking it back. I remember I was texting you. I called you. I was just freaking out. I was like, it's
Awesome.
9,000 now. Now it's 10,000. And I think I sold it at like 12,936, something like that, 12,936. But that was insane. But that gain wasn't, I mean, it's a huge gain, obviously. But
Yeah.
percent wise, I mean, I've had ones that have done, 400%,
Wow.
300%. I had one that was like 110% in about 20 minutes. And I think when you look at it, it's good to have those big gains. But what I'm looking at now is the percent, like, if I can put in, $100 and turn that into $500 in just a little bit of time, I mean, that's incredible. And with options, if you play it the right way, and if we put the strategies that you've given me into place, I mean, it's definitely repeatable. You can definitely do it, and you can start even with a little bit of money. So yeah, no, but I've had some massive gains. I had 400%, 300%, 200. I mean,
Yeah.
they've been incredible. Not making as much as I did that first trade, but definitely still making a very good amount of money.
All right. Hey, listen, you're still getting into it, so the risk obviously has to be small until you really get it.
Yes, correct.
That's
Just
awesome.
just working on. I'm building a bankroll right now. But yeah, no, definitely.
What's your favorite part of the class? What is it that about it that you say, you know what, this piece sticks out to me as something that really is not just my favorite, but gives you the edge.
Um, I mean, it's hard to say one thing. I mean, I would say just how in depth it is, just how in depth it is, And what I love about the class is that we go through it together. I remember when we talked about it before we even started, you had mentioned, hey, listen, we're going to go through this together. And if you don't get it, we're not going to move forward. I've done other courses before, whether it's for stocks or other crap. And, you're learning a little bit, but then eventually maybe you don't learn exactly what you need. And then it's, oh, we're on to the next chapter. We're on to the next thing. I think what really helped me the most was just we worked on things together, and we made sure that the principles we understood them before we moved on. And it wasn't just like, hey, I'm telling you stuff and then that's it. No, you asked me for homework. You had me to check back in on this. You asked me questions. You had me break things down, me explain it to you. So that really made me realize that I had an actual understanding of what was going on. So now when I'm looking at this stuff, I remember going from like our first week to now. I mean, I didn't know what was going on to now. I can look at something, give me a couple minutes, and I know pretty accurately what's going on. And that's been the biggest thing. The biggest thing is step by step. I think with something this big and something that offers you, really life-changing opportunity, you want to make sure that you really understand it. And going through the course, that's what really stood out to me.
Awesome, man. Awesome. And you mentioned something very important. You said, how long it takes you to actually do a trade. Because it takes you such a small amount of time, how does it affect your family now do you spend more time? Like, how does that work? And how long does it really take you to do it?
So honestly, it can take. I'd probably say maybe a couple hours a week. I mean, honestly, because you're looking for, yes, you're looking for a play, but you also need confirmation. So there's a lot of plays that you can set up, but without the confirmation, there's I don't need to play it. So I'll just using the parameters you give us to search for different stocks, the screening and stuff. You can find a lot of potential ones, but then you just add it to my watch list, and I'll keep an eye on it. But doing that literally takes minutes. I mean, it really takes minutes. And then it's making sure to come and check back on it later to see, hey, do we have the confirmation that we need? Is it going the direction we want? But in terms of time, it's very small. And yeah, absolutely, it's giving me a lot more free time. Before for extra income, I used to drive for Uber Eats or DoorDash or doing other stuff like that. And I'm telling you, I could drive 6, 7, 8 hours in a day on top of my shift, which is, pretty ridiculous. And, you get burnt out pretty quickly. I've had a lot more time to spend, with my son, with my parents. They're older now, and now we're getting to do more things. And no, the time part of it has been what's crazy. I think when you hear, oh, you can only do this in 2 hours and you can make the kind of money, we're talking about people, obviously, you're going to be skeptical about it, but really, with the screening tools you give us, it's a couple clicks, it's looking at a couple different charts. It does not take a lot of time at all.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's a good point you make that it's a couple clicks. And I said this to you, I think in the beginning, I know you wanted to get in right away.
Yeah.
It takes time to get to that point, because I think the
No,
biggest
for sure. Yes. Yeah. I agree. Go ahead.
It's easy once it's everything's in your mind. We took our time to build it. There's no shortcuts to this, but that's the point we want to get to. So a point where like, wow, this is not that hard at all. Once every single piece of the puzzle is put together comprehensively, step by step, that's been proven.
Yeah. And to that point, I think it's interesting. I remember when we started, and we started going over some of the, just some of the charts and stuff. Before we were really into it, you just say, hey, I'm going to give you an example. And I mean, you do this thing in 2 seconds. And I'm like, what the hell is this guy on? There's no way this is possible, right? And then now I can do the exact same thing. And I'm like, I'm never going to be on this level. It's never going to work. I'm never going to have that, that knowledge or just the confidence in the play. And now literally, I mean, it could take minutes and I can explain it almost to a 5-year-old. I mean, it's a little more difficult than that, but it's just going through the course and stuff from day one to whatever day we're on now. I mean, the ability to look at something and be so confident and know, oh, this is good. Nope, this is a pass. It's incredible. So, yeah.
You're laughing at the 5-year-old thing. I actually tested my program for my 15-year-old son, who did the program, and I made sure that he's able to do it before actually launching it, to make sure that, look, if he could understand it, he's a smart kid, but if a 15, or I think 14 at the time, to really be able to break this down, then we got something here.
And that speaks to the volume of the training of how it's easy to understand. It can be overwhelming, but I think, like you said, when you take your time, that's always the biggest thing. Like you said, we got to take our time. We're going to get through it together. But once you go, I mean, you're going to get it. That it's simple. At the end, it's a formula. We're just trying to, figure out the formula. That's really all that it is. So as long as you put the work in, you do the homework, you stay consistent with it, yeah, you'll get it 100%.
Yeah, and I believe the one thing that you said is, well, I didn't think I could do it. I did it so fast. A lot of people who do trainings and stuff like that, when you tell them that, if it doesn't really do much. I mean, it feeds my ego that you think I'm so fast at it, but it also kind of creates subconsciously in your head, I can never be that good. Whereas,
Right, right.
I would rather create a system where, oh, no, 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 Vlad, I know exactly what you're doing. I could do the same
Yes.
thing. And the more we could replicate that, that development is what creates that financial freedom that you're speaking about right now, which is awesome to
100%.
do. That's awesome, man. And so would you recommend this program for others?
I mean, definitely, definitely. I mean, if you're someone who wants to make some extra money and you don't want to spend too much time doing it, this is, I would say, this is as good as it gets. And the best thing about it is there is scalability. So that's the big thing. So I think with, like, let's say DoorDash, Uber Eats, okay, because that's what I've done, right? You get in the car, great. I turn it on. I'm gonna make some money. But there's no scalability. I can't go from working 6 to 7 hours to now doing 25 hours, and that's the difference I need to make more income. With options trading, you can start with, let's say you start with, I don't even know, $100, $200. You turn that into 400 or 500, then you turn that into 1,000, and then you continue to scale it, and nothing is changing. The amount of time you're spending is exactly the same, but now, since you have a bigger bankroll, if you will, you're able to scale it. A lot of these extra jobs, okay, someone tells me, oh, great, I can make $25 an hour. That's great, but can you work that 30 hours? Can you do it in addition to what you're doing, to really scale it? And for the most part, no, you can't. With options trading, you can just scale it. Once you get some wins, once you have some success, you're able to just use the same amount of time but make significantly more money. So absolutely, yeah.
Awesome, man. Awesome. So, because I know you had a little hesitancy in the beginning,
Yeah.
I got to ask you this now. Why would somebody take action to do this now and not wait?
Just because, I mean, if you're at a spot where I'm at, where I was at, and I was struggling and stuff, and I was trying to figure out another way. How can I generate more income? To get me out of the situation I was in. To have more time with my son, to have more time with my family. I don't know why you would wait. Because I think waiting isn't gonna, like, do anything for you. It's only gonna make your situation worse. And I remember, even now, looking back on it, we talked, and it was a couple weeks. I wish I'd started a couple weeks earlier. I would have been
I
probably in a
remember
better
that.
situation than I'm in now, and I'm in a good spot now. But I think the procrastination doesn't really help you. If you really are looking at it and you want to do something that's life changing, and if you want to look at the success that we've had in the group, I mean, I don't know why you would wait. It's just going to make the decision harder for you. The more you put it off, the more you'll end up putting it off. And then once you actually do get on board, because believe me, once you see the success, you definitely will get on board. You're just going to feel dumb. You're like, man, I should have done this a while back. And it takes time, though. It takes time. So with a process that is thorough as as the training we go through, you want to start it sooner. I mean, it can take several weeks. So even starting now, you're not going to be where you need to be at for a couple of weeks, whatever, maybe a month or two, depending on your pace. So you want to start sooner rather than later, because the sooner you get it, the sooner you can start making money. I mean, the sooner you can change your life, really.
Awesome. Awesome, man. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. And what is your number one piece of advice for people who are trying to attain financial freedom? Like, if you could give them something that, you could look back and say, this is what I wish I knew, what would it be?
Um, I guess and I don't know if this is the perfect answer, but that it takes patience. So it takes time. Don't rush it. Don't rush it. I think a lot of times, we want to rush it. We just want to get right to the end, and that's me. Getting right to the end, and
Yes,
let's
it
make money.
is.
Let's make money. Exactly. And if you do that, you can get burned. I think that the most important thing is, obviously, follow the steps. Again, the formula exists and it works. The strategy exists and it works. Follow that. Don't just decide to be like, hey, I want to do this as quick as possible. We're in 2 classes. Okay, I have some idea of what I can do, and now I'm just going to go on Robinhood or Webull. Let me throw in a couple $100. Let's see how this works. Don't do that. Do the class first. Get through everything. Make sure you understand things. Ask questions. Ask questions so that you know what's going on. And then maybe this is what I did too. When I was at home, I try to explain it to maybe my mom or my dad, and I was thinking, well, if I can explain it to them, then that means that I have some understanding of it. And that's the big key. Make sure that you know what it is that you're doing versus, you're just guessing.
How did that
Guessing,
go?
it never works. What's so I think when we started, it was a little more difficult. I definitely was rushing it, and they were like, all right, dude, you got to take some more classes or whatever, because this doesn't make any sense. But as we've gotten towards the end of it, now I'm obviously more confident. I can show them, what's going on, and they have some understanding of it too. And I mean, they're both in their 60s, so
Let them know if
and
you
they're not
want
even
to sign
great.
up. I got them. I'll
Hey,
help.
there you go, there you go, there you go. When you could look at a computer stuff like, and they have some idea of what's going on. I mean,
Yeah,
that speaks to I think the ease of access. So like that, like once you get it, it's pretty easy. So, but yeah, don't rush it, don't rush it. Go through it, ask questions, and just yeah, just make sure you're patient with it.
awesome, awesome, man. That's great advice. And so now that you got this going and it's working for you, obviously we still have a few more things to work out to really
Yeah,
solidify some of the more consistent strategies as well.
yeah.
But what's your goal after this?
Um, you're talking money wise?
I would say just overall, what are you looking to attain? Not just money wise, but things that you've been desiring to do, things that we talked in the beginning. What is it? What's the next thing for you now that you have that freedom?
I mean, the next thing is just, I mean, go out there and enjoy it. I mean, I want to get more consistent with, putting the right strategies in place so I can automate the process a little bit more, if you will, so
Yeah.
that it becomes easier. There's less time involved. But really, I just want to be able to have more time to do the things that I want to do. And really, I mean, it's crazy. First off, the money you can make is ridiculous. And a lot of people have a hard time, wrapping their head around it. But what I will say is that like people do make a living off of this. People they talk about wealthy people are the only ones who do this. But yeah, how do they become wealthy? Some of them they use these strategies. How do you stay wealthy? You use this stuff, and you just have to have the knowledge. If you have the knowledge, I mean, it works. So just implementing this knowledge, just being more consistent with it, and then automating the process, making it even easier. Where we're taking a few solid plays, and that's it. Because really the idea for this financial freedom in my mind is time freedom, which is the most important thing. Yeah, this is great and stuff. I don't want to spend 10 hours a day doing this. That doesn't really give me freedom. That just takes me away from what I don't want to do to doing something else I don't want to do. So I want to make sure that I have the time that I want, and I'm able to use it in the way that I want, and automating this process, and getting it like every Monday or Tuesday, 1 hour every morning, checking in, and then letting it go from there. That's what I want to make sure that I stick to.
And it's funny you say that. I appreciate that you want to automate it even more. So even 2 hours a week is still too much for you, huh? You
That
got to get
right.
it down to 30 seconds.
Yeah,
But no,
yeah.
it's always
Really, what I mean is I want to get to like maybe let's say 3 or 4 good plays for the week,
absolutely.
and then invest that in there versus because I mean really it's kind of a rabbit hole, like it can become endless because there's a lot of good plays, and once you get the knowledge you can do a lot. I want to just make sure that I'm being maybe 3 or 4 good ones. I'll put my money there, and and build it that way versus having to go through every single one, because that becomes an issue too. You look at this chart, wow, this looks juicy, wow, that looks juicy, and now there's 30 different. I mean, it's just unsustainable. So I just want to make sure that I'm picking the ones that I feel the best about, and playing those so that I can have a higher rate of return, and that I have better time availability.
Gotcha. And hey, listen, I don't judge you on that. I mean, I've gotten my trades down right now to about 45 minutes a week. So I'm always looking for that next, how do we do it without taking shortcuts? How do we take this already get
Yeah,
proven system and make it even smaller? Because again, when I created the system, I was working a crazy retail job, managing the whole Northeast. So yeah, so I had to be
yeah,
that way. But it's pretty cool that we're
yeah,
trying to take it even to the next level now. It's really cool, man.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
listen, I
Absolutely.
really appreciate you sharing your time. I think this is really going to help people to get a little more clarity on what it is that I do, what it is that real people experience. So I really, really appreciate you taking the time out. And I hope you have a great day. And I hope you get a few more trades in today.
Can I say one last thing?
Sure.
Can I say one last thing?
Yeah.
I want to say to whoever's watching this, I don't know who's watching this. Be willing to take a risk. I've always thought, and now at 25, which is still young, but I've been through a lot of stuff in my early life where I now realize scared money doesn't make any money. You've heard that, I'm sure, but there has to be some risk. There's nothing out there. There's no way to make money without doing anything. Hey, I don't want to put in any money. I just want to make money. no, you got to take a risk. You have to take some risk. If you want to change your life, it's going to take some amount of being uncomfortable at the beginning. But, once you make that decision, be willing to follow through. I think that's the most important thing. Once you make the step, follow through, because I think for a lot of people, we want to try something for 5 minutes. It didn't work and I'm out. That's not the way it works. If you want to build something that's going to be successful, if you want to build something that's financial freedom, which, millions of people, billions of people around the world are looking for, it's going to take sacrifice. It's going to take being a little uncomfortable, but you have to take that first step. You're never going to get to where you want to be if you don't take that first step. You're always going to be that person on the outside saying, I wish I had a way, or I wish I could do it. But if you're never taking that first step, you're never going to get to wherever you want to be at. So be willing to take a risk. Be willing to take a risk. Be willing to put the work in. Stay consistent. And honestly, it's possible. It's 100% possible. Good luck. I'm excited for whoever you are watching this. You're almost there. Make the choice, make the right choice, and stick to it. And I promise you, in a couple weeks, couple days, months, whatever, your life's gonna look a lot different than it looks today.
Awesome, man. I really appreciate it. I'm glad you took the risk. I'm glad I got a chance to work with you. And honestly, man, keep it up. I can't wait to see what your future holds for you. Seriously. Thanks a lot, Zeke.
Appreciate it, Vlad. I'm excited for it, man. We should be good. Thanks, man.
Wow, Zeke is one hell of a guy, and I really enjoy training him. And if you feel like you could be the next Zeke, maybe your situation calls for it. Maybe you're tired of working a 9 to 5 or answering to your boss or constantly waking up, wondering why am I going to work. And you just want to spend more time with your family, then we might be able to help you out. If you look at the comments below, you will see I have a website for the webinar that breaks down our whole strategy of what I do to make money on a weekly basis. This is a great place to start, and it'll give you a great understanding and a foundation of what you could do today. The key to this webinar is watching the whole thing. I've seen people stop at like the 40-minute mark or the 35-minute mark, sometimes even the 50-minute mark, and they miss the key concepts that we go over when it comes to our bounce profit formula, which is key, and also our passive formula that's going to help you make money without you trading all the time, literally just 1 or 2 trades a week, sometimes even a month. So definitely watch the whole thing in its entirety. See you at the webinar.